Hey, so welcome to another Graflex 2.0 installation. This one's for Michael. Michael wanted a Graflex with a Goth3D master chassis and a Prizm board. So let's have a look at what we've got on the master chassis here. So we've got a bronze steel finish for these four pieces. If you can see, it's still got the print lines. I offered to get them sanded and grinded down, but Michael thought this would look a lot more authentic for Star Wars. Then you've got the shiny pieces here, which we've got polished brass here, which I've polished to a more or less mirror shine. It looks very nice. So this piece here, that is also part of this piece, is polished brass. This piece here, sorry, that's polished bronze. This piece here is polished brass. So you can see there is a slight difference, but not as much. I've polished that as well myself. So inside we've got a, I think it's 18 karat gold plated crystal chamber. So that's all of those pieces inside there. So for a configuration, we've got a soft furnace clamp card here. Behind it there is the Dimitri Shtok clamp card, clamp card switch holder with the switches wired together. So those both serve as the aux switch. Just give me a second, I need two hands to put that back in. Okay, it gets a little bit fiddly, but Michael, if you're ever going to remove this, try and put it in from the bottom with the bottom end removed, because it gives some leeway for the bottom end of the suspension tab thing here to it just comes down a little bit to give you some space to put this in. It is quite a tight fit, but it's clickable and everything else. So here we've got an Empire Strikes Back retention screw. Doesn't do anything, the button doesn't do anything, but that holds the blade in rather than the emitter screw here. So up here we've got the red button activation as normal, bunny ears, everything else is fairly standard. We also have, let's have a look, the KR Sabers blade plug there. So I've trimmed that down so it sits flush now, and I've also installed, I've grinded the back end of the screws down here so that it doesn't catch the back end of the master chassis, which it can do on some builds if you're not careful. I've also drilled or sanded, if you will, this little hole that this sits in, this lever. So what that means is you can twist this lever either way, left or right, without having to remove the card, remove the clamp card activation section and everything else, because normally you have to pinch the clamp together before you can twist this. So a number of people have done that modification. It really helps because you can decide how tight and how loose you want it on the fly just by opening this and twisting it to the left for loose and right for tight. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. He says. So I've got the standard kill switch there, which is a bit fiddly. You just twist it to get it into the right position. There we go. So that is one of the standard fonts. So I'm not sure if that's light meat or grey meat. But on here we've got 5 fonts at the moment. The board can take 6. So this one is one of those. Let's fast forward to one of the other ones that are non-board specific. So you have to hold the button down and then press it again.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you're not a Jedi yet.
So that one is Empire Strikes Back Legends. You'll see a few lights blinking here. We've got 4 accent LEDs, so a white and a blue on either side of the board. Let's turn this on. That's really something. So you'll notice here the lights are just flickering around in a circular pattern. That's the default. Hold on, let me turn this off. Okay, so that the way those are twisting is the default way this board works. But I've also changed the config on one of the font files to the way Michael's requested, which is all of the 4 accent LEDs are on at the same time. So let's skip to the next font.
That lightsaber was Luke's and his father's before him, and now it calls to you.
So episode 7 by Lord Veco. A more aggressive boot sound there. Let's press the aux button. I believe that's light meat. That's definitely dark meat. Gotta love that growl. And finally, back to probably grey meat. I may have gotten light meat and grey meat mixed up. They're very similar.
The Force is with you,
Yeah,
young
unfortunately you can't
Skywalker.
skip this, so I think that's a restriction of the board. But since this is a sort of Empire Strikes Back slash TFA build,
And his father's before him, and now
let's use
it
this one.
calls to you.
So let's have a look at the swing detection and all that good stuff. So I've adjusted the files, the override.txt file, and what that means is that, oops, I just knocked it on there. What that means is it's more sensitive to a swing now. I like this. If you're not a big fan, I can talk through how to change the settings for you if you want. So you'll notice even the slightest knock will clash. I'm not sure if I've changed those settings though. What I have changed is the swing. Let's move this out of the way. So you'll notice that's quite responsive. Out of the box it's not as responsive as that. So colours, we've got a blue, blue, white in the main LED. Let's just put that down. So the white mixes in with the 2 blues for flash and clash, but other than that, it's just the 2 blues that are on at the moment. The crystal has 2 LEDs on it, so we've got a blue and a white. They're both soldered to their respective LED pads on the board here. So that's pretty much everything. Let's get a blade in there and see what that looks like. So the way to put the blade in, it's a simple case of just unscrewing this screw here. Doesn't have to come all the way out, just enough to give some clearance for the blade to go in. And that's the blade plug that was in there. So you'll notice I've just trimmed the end down over here so it sits better once it's in. Over on this side, let's turn this over. You simply pinch the bunny ears, and it opens up and you can slot the blade inside. And once the blade's fully down, just push it down until it goes to the top of the LED assembly, and then just gently tighten this to hold the blade in. But when you tighten this, just be wary to not over tighten it, because you could crack part of the blade. Same with when the blade plugs in. The general rule of thumb is tighten it till it's sort of finger tight, and then give it a quarter turn more, and that should be nice and snug. So let me get this blade in here. Okay, so this one here is my JQ Sabers display blade. It's very nice. If you haven't got a blade, I'd recommend it, especially since you're in the UK. Okay, so let's have a look at the one font that has all 4 accents on at the same time. Nope, not that one. It's the next one. It's the last one in the list. I'm going to copy the LED config across all the other fonts if that's what you want. There we go. So you'll notice there you've got all the accents on at the same time. Okay. And there we have it. It's off. So that is almost everything. I'll show you how to screw the top on just to make sure you're doing it the right way. Okay, so what we have here, if we have a look, let me turn another light on here. That's better. So first of all, if you look down there where the little coloured wires are, I've got some double-sided 3M moulding tape plus some electrical tape on top of it. So in effect it becomes single-sided tape, but I've covered that off as best I can. You will see some of the little wires there, but it's not, I don't think it's noticeable. The way to get this on, the best way to get this on is to first of all loosen this maybe half a turn, so that way. Then insert this on the end like this, carefully. Just bear in mind it has to clear. I'll do my best to push down the mounting tape, but it has to clear it, so it's not too difficult. The one thing that does get in the way here quite a lot is this little black thing here, so that's a clamp card activation thing, so you kind of have to tilt it upwards when you push this in. So I'll do that now. Okay, so I've tilted that, I've pushed this in slightly. Now it just slots in all the way till the end. Once it's in there, then it's just a case of rotating the bottom end until it's tight. Okay, and when it's tight, that's how it should look, so there's very little gap there. This will be loose, fairly loose. Actually, it's pretty snug on this one, it's not too bad. Sometimes they're a bit more, well, yeah, loose, a bit slippery. So what you do here, you tighten this again, probably back to your half a turn. And this is down to your own better judgment here. So normally I have this as tight, well, tight enough so that it holds this in, but also tight enough so that this isn't easily twistable or doesn't get loose easily. I'm a bit of a stickler for detail, so I mean this D-ring here is facing downwards. In Empire Strikes Back and Force Awakens it actually lines up with one of these strips, and that lines up with the clamp itself. But if you're not really too bothered about all that detail, because it is a bit of a faff to get it all working properly, you could just tighten this to sort of a little bit of a looser profile, so it's not, that's still not going anywhere without a bit of force. Let's turn this light off. So we have another thing. So when you tighten this, sometimes it might press the buttons. That's a sign that you've over tightened it, because it might be holding one of the York switches down. So just loosen it off and close it again, and that's all good. You can get access to the kill key just by unscrewing this, and you can twist and untwist the kill key, but it's entirely up to you which way you do it. I prefer to take the whole thing off and see all the nice fancy stuff inside. So after all, that's sort of what you pay for, isn't it? I'm going to open it up. I'm just going to show you one last thing with the SD card. Okay, so to get access to the SD card, let's get this in focus. Get the light on. You'll see it's there. So what you have to do is, I mean, you can use your fingernail if you've got slightly longer ones. You just kind of poke in there, push down, and it'll pop back out. And equally, when you're putting it back in, you do the same. Just be careful when you put it back in. Just make sure it goes into the SD card holder, and make sure that the kill key is switched to a position where, see, that's on at the moment because it's quite loose. If I press on, it should. Yeah, there we go. So to know, you know it's off when you twist it and it's a bit more stiff. So now it's not going to work. That's when you take out the SD card. And also when you plug it into the PC and you take it out of the PC, just make sure you safely remove the SD card using the Windows or the Mac. I don't know how it works on Mac, but the safely remove icon, just to make sure there's nothing writing or reading from it. So that's that. And as I said, I will get the LED set up so that it's constantly on for all the fonts, and I hope that's good enough for you. That's my trusty tool for the pins here. So there you have it, man. There's your Saber, and if you have any questions, let me know.